Hello there, and welcome to the Paris Set Me Free Creative Photo Analysis. If you want to see a good version of the picture I'm going to discuss today, go to the blog, parissetmefree.blogspot.com, and look for July 2008. This is the photograph I'm going to talk about today. It was just taken round the corner from my last photograph, which was called Wolf Mother, which had a couple of infants suckling a female wolf. This is a statue from this little park, and these little parks, apart from having strange statues, also attract those who don't have anywhere to live in Paris. Paris has this wonderful reputation for romance and haute couture and expensive restaurants and wonderful views, but actually there's also a great number of homeless people in Paris, and this is something that I often show in my photographs, this other side of Paris which we're not supposed to ignore or pretend doesn't exist, but it's not the glamorous side that the tourist brochures would like you to see. So I certainly, as I'm walking around Paris, I certainly feature this in my photography. And as I came around the corner from this little park, this little square which is called Square Paul Pain-Levé, which means risen bread, good name, Paul Risen Bread, I was struck by this guy, and in particular by the two matching holes in his trouser legs around about calf level. The funny thing about this shot is I'm sure he's got a pair of trainers that I had exactly the same pair of trainers, and they look in pretty good condition, but if you look at his trousers, then that kind of knocks this idea of homeless people actually having quite a bit of money on the head. There are places where you can get thrown away trainers and things like that kind of given out by charities and so on, so that's probably the story here. If you see what he's doing, you see the way he's walking, he's kind of got a laziness to his step, you know, there's no hurry there, there's a kind of slouchiness which is echoed in the way his jacket is hanging at this kind of slovenly angle, and his trousers, which seem to be too big for him, are kind of rumpled up at the bottom, just against the shoes there, and what this kind of says is he hasn't got anywhere to go. You know, when he got to the end of this little piece of pavement here, he just stopped, turned around and came back again. I put my camera away when he was doing that, but then he turned around and walked in this direction again. So this kind of says to me, you know, there's a story there even in his step, and I don't use the word slovenly in a negative way. I use it as a simple, literal word, which is the way he is. He doesn't have anywhere to go. There's no reason for him to hurry. He's just pacing back and forth. This is his world. I've included this, which is a row of bags, supermarket bags, full of his stuff, and that is his stuff. That's his world. I put him dead center in the picture because I didn't feel there was any need to make any reference to anything else. That is his world. That is his context. You've got this bit of white road marking here, which is countered by these parallel lines, which are thinner. So there's a visual, pleasing visual aspect to that. There's an overall greyness to this shot. It was even much greyer, but I brightened it up a little bit. But that's it, you know. His reality is the streets of Paris, the road markings, the flagstones, and the drains. I left in this drain here. I could have chopped it so that he wasn't so much in the middle, but I really wanted to go for that effect. As I walked past him, having got my shot, which he didn't see, I don't believe he saw that I was taking, he very politely asked me for une pièce, as they say, a coin, and I gave him €1. And as he held out his hand, very often people's faces, but often their hands as well, speak of what their life has been. And I could see in his fingers there was a certain swollen fatness to them that people who have lived out on the streets for a long time have. The fingernails were dirty, and his touch was rough. It's not something that you get if you work in an office. And yet he was ever so polite. He was a middle-aged man, rather unkempt, but he had a white beard, and the thing that hit me was this politeness, this overall politeness, you know, which touched me a lot. It's the sort of thing you see a lot in Paris, and I think it's valid to use this as a photographic subject. I think you have to be careful to somehow respect the people, either by not showing their faces, or by giving them a coin, or by somehow trying to give them some sense of dignity, whilst at the same time you're trying to show the awful plight that they're in, and you're trying to show that Paris isn't the great romantic dream it's made out to be. There are aspects of it that are, but aspects of it that aren't. You know, these supermarket bags are now synonymous with the homeless people of Paris. There's a certain type of supermarket bag which is stronger than the little flimsy plastic ones. You maybe have to pay a little bit for it, and these have almost become the the calling card of those who wander the streets, like in that old song from Ralph McTell, The Streets of London. It's exactly that. You see a lot of these people, and I have to admit that, you know, sometimes I feel that I'm not so far from them. When I'm wandering around with my camera, looking not necessarily for beauty, but looking for strong things, strong emotions, I wander, I walk rather aimlessly sometimes, and I feel a little bit like these people, and I honestly couldn't say that they are necessarily unhappier than I am, or that I am happier than they are, although in theory I'm doing what I want to do, trying to represent all aspects of life in this supposedly glamorous capital. But I must admit, I sometimes feel either a fraud, or I feel maybe they are more at home than I am. I think it's similar for all artistically inclined people, be it poets or chroniclers or photographers. We're not quite sure what we're doing. I think we're wandering around, trying to put words to emotions, trying to create images which represent something, but to have that need to do that must mean that somewhere inside us there's something lacking, or there's some sort of desperate need to get out your emotions and to share them with others, in a way that those who are walking around us without a camera, without a pen, not forming some sort of poem in their head, don't have. And it's a strange sort of calling, but that's what I do, and that's why Paris inspires me. That's all for this time. Bye bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.